Hi, boys and girls. We're going to talk about another really cool genre today, folk tales and fairy tales. Folk tales and fairy tales are really old stories from around the world, and these stories usually start out being passed on by storytelling. Someone tells someone else, and they tell someone else, and the story is told over and over and eventually someone writes it down. So these are stories that are very, very old that we get to hear. And the one we're going to read today is called The Mitten. Now, this is a folk tale, and it's from the Ukraine. And this version is retold and illustrated by Jan Brett. She's actually one of my favorite illustrators, so hopefully you like her beautiful pictures here. Once there was a boy named Nicky who wanted his new mittens made from wool as white as the snow. Do you think that's a good idea? What might happen if your mittens are white and the snow is white? At first, his grandmother, Baba, did not want to knit white mittens. "If you drop one in the snow," she warned, "you will never find it." But Nicky wanted snow white mittens, and finally Baba made them for him. After she finished, she said, "When you come home, first I will look to see if you are safe and sound. But then I will look to see if you still have your snow white mittens." So off Nicky went, and it wasn't long until one of his new mittens dropped in the snow and was left behind. How is he ever going to find it? See it down here in the snow? A mole, tired from tunneling along, discovered the mitten and burrowed inside. It was cozy and warm and just the right size, so he decided to stay. One of the really cool things about this book is on one side we can see a picture of a mitten and we can see what the little boy is doing, and on the other side we can see the animal that's going to go in the mitten next. What's gonna go in the mitten next? A little bunny rabbit, huh? A snowshoe rabbit came hopping by. He stopped for a moment to admire his winter coat. It was then that he saw the mitten, and he wiggled in, feet first. The mole didn't think there was room for both of them, but when he saw the rabbit's big kickers, he moved over. What's coming next? Next, a hedgehog came shuffling along. Having spent the day looking under wet leaves for things to eat, he decided to move into the mitten and warm himself. The mole and the rabbit were bumped and jostled, but not being ones to argue with someone covered in prickles, they made room. As soon as the hedgehog disappeared into the mitten, a big owl, attracted by the commotion, swooped down. When he decided to move in also, the mole, the rabbit, and the hedgehog grumbled. But when they saw the owl's glinty talons, they quickly let him in. You know what a talon is? It's the sharp claws on his feet. Up through the snow appeared a badger. He eyed the mitten and began to climb in. The mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, and the owl were not pleased. There was no room left. But when they saw his diggers, they gave him the thumb. Wow, I don't think anyone else can fit in there, do you? That thing is stuffed full of animals. Surely this fox won't fit in. It started snowing, but the animals were snug in the mitten. A waft of warm steam rose in the air, and a fox, trotting by, stopped to investigate. Just the sight of that cozy mitten made him feel drowsy. The fox poked his muzzle in. When the mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, the owl, and the badger saw his shiny teeth, they gave that fox lots of room. Uh-oh, what's coming next? Oh, this is never gonna work. A great bear lumbered by. He spied the mitten, all plumped up. Not being one to be left out in the cold, he began to nose his way in. The animals were packed in as tightly as could be. But what animal would argue with a bear? The mitten swelled and stretched. It was pulled and bulged to many times its size. But Baba's good knitting held fast. Oh man. Along came a meadow mouse, no bigger than a tiny acorn. She wiggled into the one space left and made herself comfortable on top of the great bear's nose. Oh, what's Mickey see? I think he realizes he only has one mitten. Uh-oh. Do you think he'll find it with all the animals? The bear, tickled by the mouse's whiskers, gave an enormous sneeze. Achoo! The force of the sneeze shot the mitten up into the sky and scattered the animals in all directions. On his way home, Nicky saw a white shape in the distance. It was the lost mitten, silhouetted against the blue sky. As he ran to catch the mitten, he saw Baba's face in the window. First, she looked to see if he was safe and sound, and then she looked to see if he still had his new mittens. Does he have them? But look at that, one is all stretched out. Baba is a little confused. Isn't that an awesome story? So that was a folk tale, a very old story that's passed down in a certain place, and this one was from the Ukraine. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.